yes, legends, much love. It is Friday. Smash up the like button if you do enjoy the content. And let's dive in through the price of Bitcoin to analyze the situation here. Do we have more downside to come throughout the next coming days, guys? Much love. Smash it up. It is Friday, guys. So we are happy. We're happy that's Friday. It is Friday, aren't we? So let's go through the comment section. We'll get some stuff ready here for the price of Bitcoin naturally. I'm just going to fit this into square right over there. And we have broken significant support. We have broken significant support here, but can we reclaim that support? Get a bounce? Is this bearish? We've broken the higher low support trend, right? Keeping things very, very simple. We did get a major breakdown yesterday from that higher low support trend line. Is this bearish? Is it a trap? Do we have priority right now to get to sub 59k in the coming days? We'll be discussing the levels, scenarios in this live stream, so make sure to stay tuned, guys. First of all, we need to give that disclaimer, of course, that this content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision or any trade decision. We are just educators. We just give our personal opinion, of course. And said that, let's dive through the comment section just quickly to say hello to the legends. Much love. Thanks for joining the stream, everybody. Let's go, let's go, let's go, legends. King K, how are you doing? Smash the like button. As Command and Conquer Soviet units would say, reporting for duty. That is awesome. Command and Conquer Soviet units. Yeah, I used to play that game a lot. Command and Conquer Red Alert. We want Stash Andy back. Stash. Yeah, well, we have to shave sometimes, don't we? So anyway, much love. Yumagongdi, big CNC fan. Tiberianson was the best. Much love, everyone. King K. Rudy, how are you doing? Much love. Adam, wow, wow, viva. Tom Bush, this is Overload Tank. Cha-ching. Joa, how are you doing? Adam, JD Vance is not going to fly to Switzerland to sign the peace treaty with Iran. The oil is climbing back. A drop is very likely. Jano, how are you doing? Oh yes, legends. Phil, hi everyone. 5 waves to the downside is complete. Up we go. We can discuss a few scenarios. Andy, could you pump BTC a bit so I can take much more short? No trap, otherwise we would be up already. Monte Carlo, yeah, very possible. Love from India. Aftab, much love. Good day, A Trader. Thanks for joining the stream. Right, let's dive in through the price of Bitcoin, right? It's about time. Do we have a 5-wave completed? Someone in the comment section saying here that there is a completed 5-wave move to the downside. There is a problem with having a 5-wave structure to be completed from this high to this low. We need to follow the rules and guidelines, right, from Elliott wave theory. We can't invent them, right? They're already invented and we need to follow them. Is it true that we would have a 5-wave completed here from the high to the low? Well, there is a main problem. Based of all of this overlap that there is, you cannot have a solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 and 4, right? Where's the 3? Where's the big 3? There's lots of overlap. Okay, so there is a problem here to count a 1, 2, 3, and now basically, 4 and 5. This would have to be your 3rd wave. The largest move, not getting overlap for the moment with your previous lows, because every previous low that we do have in the last few days have gotten overlap with the bounce, right? We created a low, we create overlap. So the only thing that you can structure throughout this momentum to the downside, if we are going to be forming an impulse to the downside, which is not yet completed, that's based on my understanding, my knowledge. Okay, I'm just a random dude on YouTube that thinks he knows what he's talking about, right? So if we are forming an impulse, in my humble personal opinion, it's not completed. The only moment that we have a gap for a possible wave 3 is here, right? The break that we got yesterday. As long as we don't overlap with the previous low, then this could be your wave 3. However, we would have a few 1-2s here. We would definitely have a few 1-2s. So if we have 3 1-2s, we would have to get 3 4-5s. Okay, so we're going to break it down. Ideally, you get a few 4-5s. They might be aggressive. They might not be as aggressive. But that's what I would want to see here throughout the next 1 to 2 days. Maybe the weekend is great. Weekend is very, very nice to form some 4-5s. We had a little range a few months ago. Well, little range. It was a very, very large range. I mean, let's zoom out here. That we were coming in after an impulse, right? We got the overlappy structure, right? Let's zoom in here just for educational content. Overlap, right? 1-2s, the breakdown, right? And as long as you have this breakdown, ideally, once you get the big gap with volume, ideally, you do get the 4-5 situation, right? This was beautiful because I remember this long very, very much. This was back in March. We were doing the stream on Friday, guys, and same scenario. Like, let's see if we do get a little bit of choppiness into Saturday, Sunday, claiming the lows with lower highs, and that gets you ready for a possible reversal bounce. This was into the weekend. The dump happened on Friday, okay? Now, the dump happened yesterday on Thursday. Now, Friday is getting the choppiness, but a little bit more low, high, low, and then high would be ideal to understand that we could actually get a reversal, right? Like somebody was pointing out in the comment section, right? Wave 5 finished. Well, there's a problem, right? This is only for education, but we spotted many different scenarios as so, where we had, the movement down, bounce, a couple of 1-2s potentially here, not claiming the low. The big move, this happened on Wednesday to Thursday. And then Friday, a bit of choppiness, lower high, you got the gap right there. And then you did end up claiming the low throughout Saturday and Sunday. Then we got the bounce. This bounce, naturally came back down, but we did get a nice little bounce of a few $1,000s here. So, it reminds me very much, right, just for education, you got that gap, you want a bit of 4-5s, you got the big volume move down, you want a bit of, momentum to the downside into support. So can we see something similar? There was another one right over here this week as well, where you had the choppiness Wednesday to Thursday, big drop on Friday, and then you got a little bounce, double bottom. Then you got the bounce here, right, throughout the next week. So you can see big drop, mainly throughout Wednesday to Friday, and then choppiness in the weekend. So can we get a choppy, slow momentum on the weekend, just like we did here back in March, in this range, right? That was Saturday and Sunday. This was Saturday and Sunday. This was Saturday and Sunday. They all ended up getting a bounce after that high volume move to the downside. We can see it. It's on the chart. You had 3 consecutive breakdowns after the choppiness, right? Then you get your 4-5s, then you get your 4-5s, then you get your 4-5. There's only one here because you didn't have much choppiness in 1-2s. So is that doable? Is it possible, right? Well, that's what we are going to be analyzing today for the impulse, for the bears, right? Because this could still be a corrective structure, believe it or not. Believe it or not, it could be a corrective structure. However, the problem is this movement, it looks corrective. It looks corrective, okay? And if this movement from 59K all the way up to 67.2K looks corrective, that means that on the higher time frame throughout the previous weeks, there is priority to take out 59K. at some point, right, regardless if the correction extends for another week or so, right, gets a bit more momentum, bouncy, trappy situation, the priority based on the information from the bounce from 59K is that this is likely a three-wave corrective move. Now, there would only be one main scenario here to have something bullish, and that would be forming a diagonal to the upside, right? Where you have 3 up, 3 down, you form your 3 up here, 3 down, and another 3 up here, and you form a, leading diagonal. And everybody's like, well, I was not expecting that. There's always a bullish case, right? But diagonals are not extremely common. So having this 3-wave structure to the upside would give a little bit of more priority, a little bit of more bias that, the chart is looking more bearish. Bears do have a little bit of more chances looking at this move to the upside. And there is a couple of scenarios based on the local move down from last week from 67.2K. Impulse, unfinished. We'll break down the levels, Fibonacci, support levels to understand what we could be looking for entering into the weekend. Get ready. And if it is corrective, ideally either the low is in or we form one more low. And there is interesting support. I had an attempt yesterday and I got stopped out. Yes, it is true. I do get stopped out as well. Managing risk though. Okay, now that we've created this volume. But yesterday we did have the point of control of this zone. Probably not on Bybit, mainly on Coinbase and other charts. We did have, okay, the point of control of this range. Sorry about this. We had a weekly level, we had a daily level, we had the anchored VWAP. There was a lot of support here. Sometimes the more confluence you have at a zone, it was crazy, right? I'm looking for Fibonacci as well from this pivot higher low to the highs. We were hitting the golden pocket. I mean, this 63K area was looking incredible based off confluence, point of control, weekly level, anchored VWAP. It's just from the low of 59K. And I got an attempt. I was out, got my alerts on the phone, and I was seeing a little reaction in between the anchored VWAP and the weekly on the 5-minute. So we did get a little tiny weeny little stop here around the weekly. Anchored VWAP was coming into that zone. Now anchored VWAP has had a little turnover, but based on this little reaction, I said, I'm going to give it a shot, because we are, holding and there's a lot of support to give a bit of room for stop loss, but did get stopped out on this attempt. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. As long as we manage risk, stop losses, they're the fees that you need to pay in trading, right? They are the fees that you need to pay in trading. So now I'm only in these trades, which is still currently holding the short from that daily rejection that we did go downstream. I did get only a little tiny bit of profits to cover a local stop loss. And the long was from last week, right? Based on this momentum, did take over 50% of the profits on that long position, and now mainly holding the short from the daily level. That was really good. For me, it is hard to get into these lower highs. I like to try and attempt to catch the high. I'm very patient. And unless there's a major level, thanks to this long position, I was a little bit more confident in taking the short at that daily level rejection that we had on the stream on Wednesday, right? We got a nice little move up. I was speculating on a multiple 1-2, saying, right, if this is going to be bearish, a lower high would be ideal. Got stopped out on one attempt, $1,900. I shared this on the stream, and then we had the daily level right over here, which was also with the golden pocket right from the high to the low. For the moment, prices dropped over $4,000 since, right, in 2 days. So this short is printing. It was worth taking a little bit of profit. I did take scratched a bit of profit to cover the loss as well, okay, of that stop loss. And now the rest is printing. Now the rest, we want to have a short available. Of course, we are in a bear market. This very much could be the end of the structure. Could we form multiple 1-2s? Yes, we can, even though I didn't like it very much. But we talk about low probabilities a lot on the channel, and sometimes the low probabilities do play out, right? It's like, if a scenario has 30% of probability to play out, that 30% can still play out. It's like going to the casino and going to the roulette, right? There's 37 numbers, right? 36 plus 0. If you cover, right, 28 of the numbers, there's still, right, there is still 9 numbers that are not covered. Maybe one of those numbers is going to come out, right? Don't think because you've covered most of the numbers in the roulette, you're going to win yes or yes. The probabilities are high. But, right, you do have those 9-10 numbers, right, that can come out. So this is the same as the low probability scenarios, right? They do play out. So we're going to go through the bearish scenarios, which ideally we would have a few more 4-5s here. We're going to talk about the most important levels of support. Let's talk about support and resistance levels throughout this range of the last few weeks, the most important ones. And we'll dive in through the comment section first of all, guys. Okay, much love. Smash that like button if you do enjoy the content. Let's just quickly say hello to the beautiful people that have just joined the stream. I can see Beth Maria Vallejos. Vámonos. What is up, legends? Devalt, the master, the king. He is back. He's here. Much love, Devalt. Thanks for joining the stream. Beth Maria Vallejos. Hola, Andy. Much love, legends. Beth Maria. Mark Dutch. Smash the like on the road to Venice. Enjoy the stream. Enjoy your travel, Mark. Much love to you, brother. Rose is here as well. Like tapped. Let's go. Let's go. A trader. Thanks, moderators. Philip, hi everyone. 5 waves to the downside. Okay, love Ramindia. Right, gone through most of the comments. A trader, brother, where is that bounce? Right, let's go. Jerome. Thought today stock market closed. I bet next week we break below 59k. Hang on a minute. What day is it today? Is the stock market closed? Let me double check. 19th of June. Ha! It is closed. New York Open. It's not going to be New York Open. Right. Yeah, it is true. There's only about 8-9 days throughout the year where stock market, there's a bank holiday. And yeah, it seems like that today the stock market is closed. 19th of June. June 10th, National Independence Day. So yeah, we do have about 10 days in the year where stock market is closed, and today is one of them. Today's one of them. Missed that. Right, dump it, says Path Maria. Are you saying the 4-year cycle will fail on back probability? Don't think it has ever done that. I'm not saying that. I'm very much in favor of the 4-year cycle theory. Very much in favor. There's nothing being broken about the 4-year cycle theory. So anyway, but could this correction extend before taking out 59k? We're not too far away. We're only $3,500 away from taking out 59k. So we're not very, very far away. Let's talk about the levels of support and try and understand this structure, which is the most important move at the moment, right? Because can we get a bounce? We absolutely can. So let's get some stuff ready. Levels of support. We've got a weekly naked point of control down in this territory. Okay, when you take a look at Bybit, maybe Binance, there is a major weekly naked point of control at 61.7k. This level is muy importante. We did lose higher low support, right? But this doesn't mean it is a guarantee that we'd come back down here to 59k. We had a similar scenario in this range right over here, if I'm not mistaken. Where was it? This one. Well, both of them, right? We where we had some higher low support trend break, right? And it does look bearish, right? You get the breakdown. You think the price is going to form a lower high and tackle this low. However, what happened is we took out the highs again, and then we took out the lows, right? Something similar happened in this area also, right? Where we had higher low support being broken. It's like, this is it, guys. We've lost the trend line. You know, it's game over, right? It's a bear flag. We're going down, right? And then when we do check the price action that developed, oh, it was a fake out of the trend. It was a fake out. It faked out from the trend, the higher low support trend. And we took out the highs. So, you know, this does happen consistently, right? Obviously, if you connect the other ones, this one was the successful one, right? At some point, you are going to break the trend line, right? It's going to happen, but you do have some fake outs of higher lows, right? Then this one was the good one, right? We broke this trend line, and then it did end up breaking to the downside. So we need to use our Elliott wave magic, right? We need to use our Elliott wave magic and levels of support and different possibilities to understand, you know, is there a chance here for this to be a fake out and reclaim that trend line and get a new push to the upside? Because maybe this is the same scenario that happened a few months ago on both uptrend corrections, where, you know, you end up reclaiming you know, the levels of support, resistance above you, and it ends up being a fake out. So is that possible? It is possible. Of course it is. We've seen it before. But most importantly, we need to understand this downtrend momentum. We need to understand how it's been developed and what main scenarios would we be looking for. Big support, mainly on Bybit, also on Binance, if I'm not mistaken, that we do have a point of control of. There's a weekly naked point of control, which is sitting at 61.7. So that's a major level. And this scenario to complete an impulse looks very, very good indeed, right? It does look very good. Remember, let's talk about the bearish case, which would be developing an impulse. We'll go through the bullish case, which is fitting later on, okay, this as a corrective move. Bearish case scenario, we're going to keep it simple, nice and easy, okay, where we would have this move to the downside. Let's just get this out of the way to clean up the chart a little bit. We'll leave this level because this level is importante. Es muy importante. Weekly naked point of control, 61.7k zone. New trades. I'm interested in new trades eventually. I would be interested in getting into a long if I get stopped out from that long position. It was a good position. I wanted to leave a lot of it open, something like 40% open from that long that was taken here just about a week ago. Very good long, by the way. Incredible long. Made in really good profits on this move to the upside, almost $40,000. And I didn't take much profits of the short because, you know, I'm interested in shorts. I'm interested in claiming sub 59k, and that's where the big profits will come, right? For the moment, they're not as big profits for me, but just because this short is really targeting sub 59k. So once we get below 59k, then the profits will look obviously very nice, of course, you know, above 25, maybe 30k, depending on the breakdown. So this is currently where I'm sitting at. Yesterday, a small little stop loss. Okay, I did take that on the day trading account because I want to leave this one for swings. It was a separate trade that was taken that was stopped out. So yeah, we're going to cover the bearish momentum. Much love. I'm not sure if there's much comments rolling in. Hey trader, Alex, my brother. Okay, you guys, this weekend I'll be very bullish bear. Paz Maria. Vamos. Most of the peaks on all Bitties pump moves are around mid-month. Interesting. We need a poll, Andy. What poll would you like? Let me know, Zooman. What do you want the what do you want the poll of? Let me know and I'll create it. I'm gonna give you that chance. Okay. No cheeky polls. Okay. A realistic poll. Zooman, I'm waiting for the comment and I'll create the poll. Something if people are bullish, bearish, what comes first for Bitcoin, and have the opinion of the community. Zooman, let me know and I'll put that poll right away. Let's cover the bearish option. Devil did point this out to me yesterday and I already saw it and I wasn't considering that much, but Devil posted this in the trading community about having a double 1-2 in this zone. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me just build this up. Second. Second wave 1 and 2 is quite longer. Yeesh. 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 This is literally the scenario here. We don't know how these 4-5s are going to develop. Will they be small or will they be large? We don't really know. Got some support here, so you might just... Anyway, going through this Elliott wave count and zooming in on the 15-minute, it is true that you can fit a nice impulse naturally with this movement down. Multiple 1-2s, wave 3, multiple 4-5s. The gap of wave 3 happened in this territory. Not the greatest looking impulse, but yeah, you can fit an impulse, and you can fit a nice impulse here. Wave 4 quite long, but your wave 4s are not overlapping. Your wave 4 is not overlapping with your wave 1, so yeah, you can fit an impulse here. The problem about this double 1-2 was second wave 1 is, you know, quite longer than the first wave 1. It's not an invalidation, so we know it's very, very possible. It's just not nice to see a second wave 1 being 140% longer, right? Basically hitting above the below the 1382 extension. So that means it's 140% longer than this one, and it's not that great. But for the moment, we need to go with this count, because we've been forming lower highs. You got a 5-wave move here, so it needs to be taken into consideration. Devil forward this yesterday as something that I was eyeing, but yeah, not taking it too much into consideration, but we need to go with it right now. You got the next move down, which would be another 1 and 2 sideways WXY. You had to overlap, so it needs to be another 1-2. If you overlap, right, with the bounces after the breakdowns, you need to consider multiple 1-2s. Not until we get a separation of the overlapping structure. Separation happened yesterday. We separated from this overlapping structure. Only until we get the breakdown with volume separating from the downtrend is when we will consider a wave 3 coming in. If that is the case, we do have realistically here 3 1-2s, which means you would have to have 3 4-5s. Okay, we don't know how exactly these are going to develop. Will they be much steeper? Will they be very, very shallow? You might get 4-5s like this. Maybe, we don't know, but you know, we would want to see at least, you know, a little bit of choppiness, at least 2 more 4-5s to then consider, get ready to look for support, right? Look for the long trading plan. So it still needs to claim the lows, which we're very close from claiming, by the way. I think it will likely be claimed. So that's what we want to see here throughout the weekend, preferably, right? Coming into the next couple of days, just get a choppy, low volatility downtrend, creating lower lows and lower highs as we go. That would be ideal to have an impulse. Having an impulse here would mean that look no further, right? Look no further. We have a 3-wave move to the upside, right? We would lean with that if you do form an impulse here, which in my personal opinion, it's unfinished. We have an unfinished impulse. Okay, we can't fit a diagonal here. You can't fit. Yeah, you cannot fit a diagonal. Maybe an expanding diagonal. Hang on a minute. Maybe. Well, I mean, yeah. Maybe and only maybe. This could be an expanding diagonal. Expanding diagonals are quite rare. They are quite rare, but it would fit as a leading expanding diagonal. There is a chance that means that, yeah, your wave 5 could be completed here if we count this as an expanding diagonal. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce right now, a little bit of a pump up. So we'll leave this as a possible option to consider for the coming days, depending on how the price, bounces, basically. If this were to be an expanding leading diagonal, that means that you would have your impulse finished here. We would be looking at this to be your wave 1, higher time frame wave 1. You got a 3-wave bounce to the upside. Do you create that choppy 3-wave move to the upside? What is common after a diagonal, regardless being contracting or expanding, what is common is to get all the way up on the correction in between the golden pocket and the 0.88 Fibonacci. So, this would be a cheeky rally to then roll over to form a lower high. If we had this, it is an alternative, okay? I wouldn't give it the main bearish option, but just so you know that if this were to be a expanding diagonal, what is common after a diagonal is to get a pretty steep pullback on the correction. That's what's very common after an expanding diagonal, which is not common, right? But if it were to be so, you would expect a pretty decent bounce to the upside, which is going to get everybody like, oh man, it's hard, right? It's hard. Trading is hard. I don't have any particular local trading setup at the moment. I would want to consider a long position. I'm already in a long. That's if it doesn't get stopped out. If we do get the other scenario, which would have priority. So this would be a second option based on forming an impulse down, expanding diagonal. They're not very, very common, okay? But could this be one of it? One? Absolutely. I would prioritize the general regular impulse because we have our first gap here with high volume, 1 2s, and we need 4 5s. So for me to consider a long, like a swing long to bounce, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 from this momentum to the downside, is to get at least 2 more 4 5s. Okay, so once this one and this one finishes and we do move down as so, it's the moment that I would be very, very interested in looking for, other levels of support, maybe an SFP, right? To consider, I would take into consideration Fibonacci. 7-8 Fibonacci, currently coming down to the golden pocket, which is, it is quite interesting. Golden pocket, we know, is a massive level on its own. Just tapped the golden pocket from the low of 59k to 67.2k. We just tapped the 618 and got a bounce yesterday. That's from the overall move up. Golden pocket, very, very respected Fibonacci, the most respected Fibonacci retracement, we would say. So do we break golden pocket and do we get the choppiness down? Boom, 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 boom. I want to see, at least for me, guys, and this is basically understanding the exhaustion and the possibility of a reversal. I would only be interested in scalp shorts down here on lower highs. I mean, if we were to claim this local high of yesterday, sorry. Oh no, yeah, yesterday. I would consider a short. You got the gap, you got the highs of yesterday, a kind of a double top here for a flat, local flat, that would be very much an intraday scalp short. I like liquidity grabs, I like fair value gaps, and claiming yesterday's highs on this bounce would be an option for a short, just to claim the lows again, right? Only scalp shorts. We did hit the 0.9 Fibonacci here, so a flat is a possible. If we get this squeeze to go higher, bump, 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 and then we consolidate, bump, bump, an impulse is what you need in an ABC flat. So this could still be a wave fall, as long as you don't hit the golden pocket, of course. So we still have a lot of room here. From this latest move down that we got yesterday, big volume, I want to label it as wave 3. Wave 4 invalidation is 63.5, which is the golden pocket. If we are forming an impulse to the downside and price is cheeky enough here to form a higher low, which has hit the 0.9 Fibonacci, which is the minimum target for an ABC flat, I would really consider the flat a lot, very, very much. That means that if we do get continuation with this local pump, I'm not sure if it's going to have enough power, but if it does, and then you miss out on taking that high with a little correction, you want a 5-wave move on your wave C. So pumping here and missing the highs, right, give or take by a few $100s, and consolidating, woo, this is going to be I'm going to be really, really excited for this short, because I understand that we're coming in at a 5-wave impulse into the highs of yesterday from this range, fair value gap, ABC flat. We've hit the 0.9 Fibonacci. This would be rare for a wave 2, so I would be looking for this to be something corrective on the formation, because a wave 2 to be so deep, hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci is breaking in a wave 3 here. I mean, it's not impossible. It's low probability, but just because this pullback was very, very deep. But it doesn't matter, because my only trading setup here for a short is based on a fake out from the highs of yesterday. You smash through, I'm not going to short. If it just breaks out from yesterday's high of this range, I cannot short. If you break out, I can short, with good risk management. If you form that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you reject from that level, that would be my short trigger. Entering on the rejection, stop loss above the high, give or take a bit of room, and targeting the lows. This would be the general shorting plan for an ABC flat. Okay, you do not double top from here and you break out, then there is no short position. I need the fake out. I need the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of look here, and this would be perfect. Kind of a liquidity grab. You got the fair value gap, right? So yeah, that would be a little bit of the plan to kind of rejoin a short here. And that's very, very based on the local structure. So there is a shorting plan. There is a shorting plan, of course, but it would only be down to the lows. Would take over 50% of the profit, leave a runner, just in case the 4/5s want to be very aggressive. And that's obviously considering this wave fall. Sorry, my bad. This wave fall. And then 4/5, 4/5 to follow up right throughout the next couple of days. And this wave 4 has been a flat, just come back down. Interesting. We might get it on stream. It only needs a bounce of $500. It might not. It might just roll over from here, and the correction has finished, and your wave 4 would be literally in the zone, sideways, complex correction. So I would want to see that. Let's take a look at the CVD divergence, because my goodness, yesterday on Binance it was absolutely insane. Massive bearish CVDs on Binance as we were dropping. Lots of people longing, and longs going ballistic here, and still going ballistic today on Binance. I don't know. These are a rare. It's a rare pump on the CVD. But we are getting new local bearish CVD divergence on Binance, lower highs on price action, higher highs on CVD. So could we form a lower high here? Absolutely we could, but I would prefer the flat structure. No other main bearish CVDs throughout the other exchanges. We actually got local bullish ones on Bybit. This is why we're getting this little pump throughout the last 30 minutes. Lower lows on CVD, higher lows on price action, bang, taking out the local highs. There are lots of shorts entering here on Bybit, which they're getting squeezed out with this little pump. Okay, so guys, remember that you do have all of this CVD. You have liquidity as well with the CVD, where you have the liquidity lines, as you can see on the chart, available for free at mindpillar.com. You do have many different indicators, tools, heat map. We are going to be integrating Delta. We are integrating order flow very, very soon. Okay, heat map, economic calendar, CVD indicator, fear and greed index, liquidity map, liquidity heat map. All of this is for free, guys, all in one site. That is mindpillar.com. You can find that on the 5th link in the description. Valuable free tools for the community. So anyway, that would be my only main local short plan. If I want to be, if I'm considering a short down here, it would have to be on the rejection from that high to give a chance for a local ABC flat, because the B wave, if it is going to be that B wave, we did hit the 0.9 Fibonacci already. So this is valid for a flat. It cannot be a running flat. Okay, running flat means that you have a 3-wave up, 3-wave down, and your 5-wave impulse does not reach the high. And just for educational purposes, why this movement? Why can't this be a running flat without claiming the highs? Any people know? Running flat means that you have A wave, B wave, and C wave that does not claim the high of the A wave and then moves down, right, in the impulse. Why can't this be a running flat? Elliot Davey, this guy knows. He's got it in the name. Elliot Davey, very good job, my man. Much love to you. Where are you? Where are you? Elliot Davey saying B didn't extend past wave A. That is completely correct. The B wave formed a higher low, so this could only be a regular flat. Regular flat targets is usually the 1-to-1 to the 1236, give or take, more or less, right? There's a bit of a, basically claim the high at a bare minimum on a regular flat, which is hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci. So we need to get above that high of yesterday at 63.2k. It needs to get above there. You cannot have a running flat because B wave did not claim the low of the A wave. It just hit 0.9, and for a running flat you need to take out the low of the A wave. Good job, my man Elliot Davey, the man himself, right there, explaining why this cannot be a running flat. So it could be an interesting one. It's one that we got the fair value gap. I would be considered, if we get it on stream, why not? Why not? I need the kind of fake out and then short on the fake out. Preferably we can detect a 5-wave move down, but this would be the general idea. I'm entering on the movement to the downside, not on the pump, because it might break. So I need the fake out for the stop loss for that regular flat. Okay, so yeah, that's something that could be interesting here for a shorting plan. And I would label this as so. This is the only gap that we have from all of this overlap. So multiple 1-2s, even though second wave 1 is longer than first wave 1, quite a bit longer, 140%. It's the main bearish option that we would have. An alternative bearish option would be the expanding leading diagonal, which they are very, very rare, but it's not impossible. Everything points out 4 is longer than 2, and obviously the 5th wave is longer than 3. So it does tick the boxes for an expanding diagonal, but this is a second option in my opinion, just because they are very rare. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it for the bearish option, to form an impulse. Ideally, we do get the 4-5s into the weekend. Okay, that would be ideal. Then I would be really getting ready for a bounce here, at least to claim that the local highs of the 4th wave, right? Kind of fill the gap of wave 3. It's just very, hit the 382 Fibonacci as a minimum target, which would be getting above those lower highs of the 4th wave anyway. But 382 minimum, it's kind of a minimum target after an impulse, right? Because after an impulse, you're looking for a wave 2 or a wave B to be formed on the bounce. And generally, right, you do get at least above 382 Fibonacci. Then, yeah, maybe 50, maybe golden pocket, maybe, 7, 8. But it would be a long target. Try and detect the latest 4-5 at support. It might be aggressive. You might SFP on one of the 4-5s from this low. We're just going to have to see where we at after forming 2 4-5s. The interesting thing about detecting the long position here is that based on this bearish scenario, to complete an impulse down, I cannot long as a kind of a swing for that bounce, right? Just for a general bigger bounce, until we have 2 more 4-5s in already. Then I'll consider to look for the long, because I understand we at least need 3 4-5. So I want 2 4-5s to be in to try and spot the latest 4-5 to then jump into the long position, right? So this needs a bit more information so we can be confident that we are, forming an impulse and it's slowing down, right, on the last 4-5s. We don't know how brutal the 4-5s can be. Maybe this, maybe it's an extended 4-5s, right? And your 5th wave just generally is an extension. We're gonna have to see this in the next few days. Okay, bullish options. What are the bullish options? CBM is here. I can see him on the plane watching the legend. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Mattia's coming to visit. I'll be seeing Mattia in a few hours. He is flying right now. And CBM Mattia, if you don't know who he is, go and check him out, guys. He's in an epic short position from the last few months on Bitcoin. He made an insane amount of money. So he'll be inviting me for dinner and many things, because he's made more, I think, than me in the last few months. Shout out to CBM. I'll be going to collect him to the airport in a couple of hours from now. Shout out to you, my man. Much love. Excited to see you. It's been a few months now since I left Dubai. Bath Maria, much love. From highs, let's go through the comment section. Elliot Davey, B didn't extend past bit A. That's why we could not have a running flat. Wayne, hi Andy, is the naked point of control 63.9 also valid for a shorty? Wayne, let's take a look at that right away. Why not? Simon Jones, bullish news on this pump too. Some ceasefire. Interesting. Yeah, this is what we got with the news as well, with Iran, right, and the US, I guess. Sometimes we get pump stumps depending on what happens. He should pay the bills. Yeah, he should. Hi Andy, Jose from Brazil here. Jose, much love. If this pump, no wave 3. No wave 5. If this pump, no wave 5. Yeah, so if this pumps, no wave 5. No wave 4 and 5s. If we pump above 63.5, that is the invalidation to continue. Okay. With the bearish projection, which is an unfinished impulse. We would have to label this as wave 3. So if we pump all the way up above 63.5, it is the invalidation for the internal wave 4s of the lower time frame, right? Internal wave 4. We cannot reach 63.5 if we want to complete an impulse in the next coming days. So it is important to form a lower high from 63.5. This is why, you know, the flat is kind of attractive here. Very tight stop loss. Even the golden pocket could be a stop loss, because I'm going to treat it as an SFP from the local highs of yesterday. Very tight invalidation, very valid short trade. We got a impulse projection with 4-5. We got a tight invalidation at golden pocket, or the fake out of the high of yesterday. Depends, you know, it doesn't really matter. And you're targeting the lows, which is, you know, it is a 3-to-1 risk reward, give or take. It's, you know, this would be a nice short trade to get here on the stream. Just like the short trade at the daily rejection that we did get on stream. Holy moly. And, you know, I shared my stop loss because I did attempt a short on stream here for a lower high. It's tight stop loss at 66. And the only short that I would attempt here is the golden pocket and a daily level that we had up there at 66.2. And that is still the short from the stream of Wednesday that I still remain in right now. Currently 11,000 in unrealized profit. But I mean, I am holding this because I am in a very good long position as well. So yeah, muy bien. This short was taken on stream right there. So to get another short on stream, it would have to be the claim of this lower high of yesterday. It's the only short that I would get in. Me personally, okay? You can do whatever you want. But I need to plan my trades, and I need to wait for the price to come to me. I got an invalidation. I got an entry point on the reaction, of course, preferably. And I got a target. So if you got an entry, if you got a stop loss, and you got a target, right, which is mainly from this downtrend to claim the lows, then you got a trade, right? If you enter a trade not knowing the projection, not knowing your stop loss, the reasons for an entry, you're not planning, right? And not planning is planning to fail, right? Not planning is planning to fail. So yeah, that's the plan. Basically, for a short, if I want to give a chance for an unfinished impulse, it is true that on the lower time frame, this could be a sideways WXY. Maybe you're forming a sideways range. Okay, which is very, very possible, right? Where you have a zigzag, then you have another zigzag down, and then you have a flat. And this ends up being a sideways WXY, but I'm not particularly interested in this. Maybe this is a sideways WXY. Zigzag up, zigzag down, flat. And then you end up, rolling down in this zone without taking this high. This for me would be a miss short. I don't like these local sideways WXYs in a mini range. But yeah, this would literally just break down to claim the lows. So preferably, if the price could manage to continue pumping or forming a double 1-2, then 3 4 5 4 5, right? Get the choppiness in this zone, invalidation at the golden pocket. This would be the short execution for that ABC flat. Invalidation is golden pocket. I mean, this is what I would really want. This is a really nice trade setup to the lows. But I understand that this could be a cheeky sideways WXY, and that they are common for wave fours, that you just form that sideways WXY, which is very, very valid at this point to roll over from here and claim the lows. Zigzag up, zigzag down, and a flat here in wave Y. So it could be completed at this high. I do recognize that, and we could be going south already. Okay, bullish options. Let's go. Are you ready for the bullish options, guys? If you are, so make sure to smash up the like button. Remember that you do have the trading community, which is live every day, talking about analysis, setups, levels, getting people ready, not only on the 15-minute, but also 5-minute time frame. Devil has been providing the zones, setups, and scenarios for today inside of the community, guys. Every single day, okay, Monday to Friday. The weekends, we do get the preparation. If you are interested in that, make sure to go down to the command center if you are interested in getting in the trading community. All right, super simple. Instructions will be sent, right? It's a command center, so you just press start and you get all of the information for you to join the community, guys. Make sure to do so if you're not in already. Down below, first link. If you're bullish, smash the like button. Andy, abrazos para ti, Matthew. Son unos seres de otro mundo ustedes. Mucha gratitud. Thanks so much. Path Maria, much love to you. If you're bearish, smash the like. Bullish or bearish, smash the like button. Okay, let's cover bullish scenarios. Local bearish setup. I am aware of forming a lower high here. Ideally for me, I just really like liquidity grabs. They're just very nice. You do know that I like liquidity grabs from a high or a low. So for me, it's very hard to get into lower highs unless you have a massive level. And, this is the main, well, is it the point of control of this range? Yeah, maybe you got the value area high of this mini range and point of control just really gently tapped. But for me, it's very, very hard to get into a short on a lower high, guys. It's not very, very common for me. Unless you had massive bearish CVDs, it's very, very hard for me to get into this kind of trade. I'm only targeting the lows, so I need a stop loss. Is the high is a good stop loss? It's not really. I just don't like this kind of trade, and it's very hard for me to get into a lower high. if it's not very, very clear. And the only reason that I got into a lower high here on stream is because of the resistance that was there, right? We had a daily level, okay? Daily level right there at 66.2K. It was this daily level right over here, basically, right? Yeah, it was this one right there. That daily level, daily close and open, 66,276, depending on what exchange. And this was the tap that we got in on Wednesday, sorry. Wednesday, nice rejection at the daily level, plus the golden pocket, right? And golden pocket and daily level, I already class that as a major confluence area for a rejection. Golden pocket combined with a daily level, yes. I mean, despite any Elliott wave scenarios, it's just a good level. So yeah, whoever's still holding that short from Wednesday, absolutely awesome. I'm holding it because I was not in a short position. And this short is to target sub 59K. You know, I was not in a short, only in the long, so I had to get into the short somewhere. So that's the one. We're going to hold this one till sub 59K. Long opportunities, I need a bit of choppiness, guys. It will be likely throughout the weekend. As explained, I personally, to get into a new long position, and this is me, guys, you can do whatever you want. You probably have something different. I'm just sharing a little bit of my plan. I don't know how these 4-5s are going to develop, but I would at least need to see 2 4-5s, which is naturally going to take, a couple of days. Saturday coming into Sunday. And at least one more low and one more lower high to create another low, and then longs can be looking interesting at certain levels of support. I would be eyeing the 7-8 Fibonacci from the low to the high. It is slightly lower, 60.8. We might get 4-5s being aggressive. I don't know how aggressive they are going to be, how low they are going to go. But I at least need to see 2 4-5s. And depending where we at later, doesn't matter, I will be looking at SFP, 7-8 Fibonacci. We do have that weekly naked point of control, but that is very, very close to the current price action. They might be very shallow. So you might claim the low, go sideways throughout Saturday, claim the low again, and you're already reacting at 61.7. They might be shallow 4-5s. They might be steep 4-5s, right? We just don't really know. So the game plan here is to get at least 2 4-5s, right? So it's a patient game right now. I can only long based on this, bearish scenario, which is having a few more 4-5s. Once we get 2 4-5s in, and expect maybe one more, right? As we do have 3 1-2s, you naturally want 3 4-5s after the potential third wave. Anyway, so it's going to take a couple of days for me to re-enter a long. There's an intraday scalp short from 63.2K, as explained, ABC flat, to come and claim the lows. And the long is going to take a couple of days for me. I'm already in a long from here. So if we were to form the 4-5s, I will be getting stopped out from that long. But that's where I'll be looking for a new entry long. That's if we do not break down aggressively, right? Then obviously no long to be taken, okay? Just because I'm saying that we're going to form, that I would want to see 4-5s, doesn't mean we need to form them, right? We could absolutely nuke down here. So if we nuke down, I'm not interested in, if we start rolling down with high volume, there would only be one attempt maybe of an SFP from here, from this higher low. Just because it is the value area low as well, right, of this trading zone. which is combined with the 7/8 Fibonacci. 7/8 Fibonacci is, yeah, it's in that region. So if we were to drop very aggressively with no 4/5s, the only level that I would consider an aggressive long for a reaction bounce is an SFP from this low, because we have the value area low of the entire range since the 5th of June, right, which is this price action. Value area low plus the low, higher low that is, plus the 7/8 Fibonacci from the low to the high. When we have this kind of confluence, value area low, 7/8 Fibonacci and all of that, with a higher low, it becomes an attractive SFP, right? Regardless if the bounce is shallow and then you roll over. You know, a bounce of $1,000, give or take, right, is very, very possible. It might be even more. We don't really know, but it's all about, this is a trade execution level. I know how to enter here. You just SFP from it, basically. I know how to manage risk. Okay, I know where to put stop loss. I know it's support. I know it's a possible entry for a local bounce. And then I can manage position accordingly, manage my risk accordingly as the price develops. So yeah, it's an interesting level, interesting SFP higher low, based on the confluence value area low 7/8. For me, it's valid for a local bounce. Will that local bounce be massive or will it be shallow? It doesn't really matter. You're gonna have to obviously manage risk accordingly. If you're already making a 2-to-1 risk to reward, you obviously want to take a bit of profits, protect position, and leave a runner, right, as we say. So that's, you know, if we do not get 4/5s, right, because sometimes, you know, what we do here is that we create plans, and many times the plans come to fruition, such as the daily short, right? Daily short, treat it as a scalp, you know, collect some profits. We move down $1,000, very nice. I'm gonna scratch a bit of profits, cover a loss from a stop attempt that I had on stream as well, and let's leave a runner because this might roll over. There is a bearish case that could be either a diagonal or the multiple 1-2, which I was not favoring very much, but we ended up with multiple one. Looks like we could have ended up with multiple 1-2s and had our start of the wave 3 here to follow with 4/5. So this is the same as this level, for example, right? If we do not form 4/5s, which a long trade could be looking attractive throughout Saturday, Sunday, and let's just imagine that the price rolls down, and this dude on YouTube was completely off with his 4/5s. It didn't happen. It doesn't matter. I'm not in any local long here. It's just what I need to see. 2 more 4/5s to consider longing later on, because I understand that we could be coming here to the last point of the impulse in the 4/5. Then longs look interesting on the slowdown, preferably at levels of support, right? We don't know if it's going to be this weekly naked point of control. Maybe reacting, reclaiming. We're going to have to go as we go here in the next coming days. Then longs are interesting once 2 4/5s are formed. I'm looking for a third 4/5 as well, which would be a local double bottom naturally. Longs are going to be looked at throughout Saturday and Sunday as price develops. If we get this choppiness, downtrend, low volatility, if we break down very aggressively, say in the next coming hours, there's only one aggressive long trade that I would take, which is this higher low, which has the value area low of the entire range with the 7/8 from the low to the high, exactly also in that area. just because of the amount of confluence here, I would consider that this level could get an internal bounce. So it's another long plan. Consider that this bounce could be shallow. It could be massive. If it's massive, game on. Awesome. I took this short yesterday. Not really confident that this would be the lower high and we would roll down in the next coming days. But I understood it can happen. I know it can happen naturally. So can we bounce here aggressively from the 7-8, get a decent big bounce? And I would have to say, yeah, it is possible, right? But this is why we know the long execution. We do know our stop loss. A 2, 3 to 1 could be relatively easy on this. So just be aware that, it might not bounce to 67K, right? It might be very shallow of a bounce. Bullish options. We've been looking at only bearish options at the moment based on the impulse. Once we finish that movement to the downside, if we were to form the 4-5s, I would be expecting a corrective bounce. It might be steep, it might be shallow. We don't know how this bounce range could develop. It might be very steep, it might be very, very rangy. But I would want to class this movement down as a possible wave 1 or a wave A, preferably wave 1 for the most bearish case scenario, which is breaking down in a wave 3. At some point, wave 2, right? Wave 3 to really nuke down sub 59K. And the other scenario is forming a wave B. This is wave A down, wave B. If that is a 3-wave structure down, we do have a 3-wave move to the upside. So we could be forming a longer ABC corrective flat when we do zoom out here on the higher time frames, right? So there's very, very strong levels of support at sub 59K. Very, very strong. So for this to be wave A instead of wave 1 is also kind of attractive. This movement down, there could be longing opportunities at this 57, 58K zone. That's between the 1-to-1 and the 1-2-3-6 Fibonacci from wave A. This 1-2-3-6 zone is kind of attractive because we have very, very strong support down there. What support do we have? We do have a monthly naked point of control, and there is a few daily levels, 57.3, 57.9. So when we consider that flat, that larger ABC flat possibility here, just obviously it could be an expanding flat, but let's just put it as so because it could be a running flat. The bouncing zone of your wave B is the 1-to-1 to the 1-2-3-6. In between 1-to-1 and 1-2-3-6 is 1-3-8-2, that is your common area for a regular flat or an expanding flat. Expanding flat, preferably 1-2-3-6 to the 1-3-8-2. So anyways, it's flat targets anyway, 1-to-1 to the 1-3-8-2. We do have daily level, monthly naked point of control between 58 and 57K. If we end up finishing the 4-5s in the weekend, we get a bit of a rangy structure throughout the start of next week, and then we roll over in an impulse. I'm going to be considering an ABC flat for sure. If we can detect the impulse down with all the waves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throughout next week, I will be considering a flat. This could be a very interesting level for longs, but we need to count the wave. We need to understand the waves as we develop in the next few days. So a flat here is very possible. And B wave target zone, claiming below A wave, which is below 59K. And between 57 and 58k, we got a couple of dailies. These dailies are from all the way back from, I don't know when. When was back from 2024. These are old daily levels, but they are there. And there's a monthly naked point of control naturally. That is a strong level. Strong level. Monthly naked point of control. That is from this zone right over here. High volume node. We've got a high volume node in this region, as you can see right there. Naked point of control, and that hasn't been tapped from July, basically. No, August. Sorry, my bad. August monthly naked point of control. So that 57 to 58k zone is muy importante. It is muy importante. Muy interesante. Something that we could be ready for. This is going to take easily till next week. Easily till next week. Because, I mean, price needs to develop as so. We need to finish an impulse down. We need to form a rangy structure for a wave B and then move down. 3 wave up, 3 wave down. Can be an A, B, C flats. Big support between 57 and 58k. Big support. So it's something that, you know, if we can spot that impulse down from the next lower high, it's gonna be looking interesting to detect that 5th wave here for the bounce. Longs will be looking very attractive, and we'll be following this. We understand how many scenarios can play out, and we understand with all of these scenarios, there's a trade around the corner. You know, we don't know exactly which one, but we can map out the situation and get ready for a few scenarios, right? Wednesday, there's a daily level. We got to trade. We got to trade here at the daily level in the golden pocket, right? It's a plan created. Stop loss above the high. That's it. If we get stopped out, it's okay. It's okay. Stop losses are there for something. They are there to get stopped out, right? So, this was a very good trade. Yeah, for the moment, this is, you know, making a good risk to reward. You know, my stop loss here was round about $2,000 or something like that. Roundabout. And this trade right now is, you know, at 11k in profit, right? 10k unrealized profit. So big risk to reward. I could lock all of the profits here, but the main reason I haven't is because I'm in a long. If my short, this long was also given last week, which, you know, take 50%. I'd taken a lot of this trade, 37k on realized profit. So big profits on that long from last week. Big profits. Why is the short not so big? Because this short is looking for sub 59, right? 58, 57. And then I would collect the profits. But also, the main reason I would collect some profits if I get stopped out of my long. We'll see. Because, I mean, 4/5s could form. I would actually not take profits and attempt some long positions, because then if I get stopped on the longs, I've got my hedge short that I'll be. The good thing about hedging is that you can attempt many shorts. I attempted 2 shorts on Wednesday. One got stopped out. I collected some profits to pay off. And with this good long position, you know, I can attempt another one, right? Second one was the good one. And this is the beauty about hedging as well, that you have kind of free attempts, right? You got free attempts because you got a long that's backing you up, is backing up your stop losses. So, right, we're getting a bit of a bouncy move here on Bitcoin. Do we get to hit 63.2. Let's see, maybe. Smash up the like button, legends. Remember, we'll be following up. I just give the overall view, guys, of the possibilities. Of course, if we were to be forming that A wave, B wave, and we're going to get that pump up, we'll be following up this in the trading community, okay? We'll be following this in the trading community, such as myself or Devalt. If you're not in already, guys, make sure to come in the trading community. We are live every day with setups, scenarios, even if they're scalps. Devalt is very much into scalping. I get mainly day trade to small swing trade scenarios ready. That's where we at, guys. Trading community. It's on the Telegram. Super easy. We'll share the instructions. It's a command center. Just click on start, share the instructions. You literally just sign up throughout one of the affiliate links, minimum deposit, and you're in, baby. You're in. CBM. What's going on here? I'll just quickly go through the comment section. Have a safe journey. Have lots of fun and paellas. I like to cook paellas, actually. I'm a very, very good chef. I'm a very good cook. I know how to do pollo al ajillo, pollo encebollado, paellas, mixtas con gambas. Buenísimo. Buenísimo. So yeah, we'll obviously eat out a lot, but I like to cook as well. It's kind of one of my hobbies. Much love. CBM on the way. Okay, lots of love, Andy. Kate, much love to you. Andy, there's a CME gap at 78.5 on the 15th of May. What's your view about closing anytime sooner? Learned so much already and kept from doing stupid things. The community is really the best. Rose, thank you so much for that support about the community. You know where to find us, guys. It's the first link down below. If we're not on YouTube, we have the community, which is an open chat as well. You can tag myself, you can tag Devalt. There's a very active community. Elliott Wave specialists, Joan, there's Joy, there's Rudy, also doing lots of analysis, not only on Bitcoin, on many other, different assets, altcoins. So it's very cool to see, also a lot of professionalism in the community. We've got some very, very experienced traders. Anyway, somebody was asking about CME gap here at 78. I do not usually. Gold, by the way, is getting a little bit of resistance. It was a very good, there is a possibility here to have resistance on gold. I did take 50% of profit from that long SFP at the point of control. Still in that long, but did take 50%, and now it's coming down, but still open. I had to leave a runner on that. Profits have been taken. CME gap, I'm not particular. I'm not a fan of filling gaps, the CME gaps. I do know that they act as support or resistance. And someone saying here there's a gap at 74. Someone here in the community, in the comment section, 78.5k gap. Yeah, well, there's a gap all the way up there. Is there any chance of filling this gap anytime soon? I would say no, not really. Not really. I would only consider gaps as resistance and or support if price is above them. Okay, a lot of the times they do act as support or resistance. So you fill the gap and then you reverse. But considering that it's going to be filled anytime soon or anytime later, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. We have gaps still, there's one at 20k. There, got these red boxes. These are gaps that we have from years ago. Anyway, there is a gap. I don't know. This is not loading anymore. But there's a gap at 20k. There's a gap at 90k. and they are irrelevant, really. They'll get filled at some point, maybe the ones to the upside, of course, as Bitcoin is bullish. But anyway, we're getting a pump right now on Bitcoin. Let's here we go. Let me just get ready here, because I might attempt a short if we do reject. If we do not reject, whoop, then no short trade. We are pumping. We need to talk about the bullish scenario, of course, that we have not. And we are on the verge of invalidating the 4-5s here, guys. So we need to reject from here. Very interesting pump with volume. Can we consider a rejection short SFB? I think it's not a bad attempt. It's not a bad attempt. Could be that we do get that rejection. Stop at the high. A little bit aggressive because of the pump. If I am speculating on an ABC here, ideally, I mean, ideally, you do get you know, a detectable impulse, right? Where you do have the 3, and then the 4-5 is the one that gets the SFB. I mean, this is the ideal scenario. It's kind of a valid attempt. A bit aggressive on the pump. %50 Fibonacci. Manage risk accordingly. I have taken this trade on weeks because I don't want to touch my trades here from bluffing. I like the positions that I'm in. Let's talk about the bullish case scenario anyway. I think realistically a stop at 63.5. I mean, it is the invalidation, and this would be a projection to roll over to the lows, right? This is not a scalp trade. It would be mainly a day trade. It might take a couple of days, but the invalidation is crystal clear for me here at the golden pocket. So I don't need to risk too much in this, because I know it's a 3, even 4 to 1 risk reward potential, right? It has that potential. So when you understand that you can make 4 times, right, what you're risking, you know what you're risking, it doesn't need to be too much. It doesn't need to be that much, right? Then I know people would go absolutely insane and risk 15% of their trading account on a trade, right? So say that you have $1,000 on your account. I'm risking $150, right? You're risking 15% of your account if you have a stop loss at $150 of your trading account here. Realistically, I'm sorry to say, okay, because I know that a lot of people go in heavy, and a lot of people trade with $500, even $1,000. I can see it, guys, because of course we have the affiliate link, and I can see that a lot of people just come in, right, thinking they're going to double, triple their account in a matter of a few days. That is not realistic. That's not how trading works. I'm sorry to be the guy. Main reason so many people lose is because of they're risking too much per trade. and they want to turn $1,000 into $2,000 very quick, which you can, don't get me wrong, but it's risking too much. If you double your account, turn 1,000 to 2,000 in a few days, I can tell you you'll be faster in losing it than actually doubling it. There will be a moment that you're gonna lose a lot more than you're gonna double the accounts. It's just nature. It's just how trading works. If you're greedy and you take over risk, then it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable long term. You can challenge yourself to try and double an account, right? But realistically, out of $1,000 account per trade should be maximum $30 loss, 3% maximum, give or take $20. Because if I have my stop loss here, let's say on this short, right? In this short right now, giving the chance for a rejection in the coming hours between today and tomorrow. In that short right now, if I have $1,000, okay, and I am risking $20 in this trade at this stop loss at 63,500, my reward is, which could be between today and tomorrow, if not stopped out, it is a 4-to-1 risk reward to the lows. So it's an $80 reward. $80 out of 1,000, it is a lot for a trade. These are great profits. $80 profit of an account of $1,000 is very, very good. It's very, very good. And this is how it should be treated. Not risking, $150 here to gain, 500 potential, right? Because that $150 stop loss out of $1,000 account is going to be painful. A 15% loss is painful. A $20 loss out of $1,000 is like, I got many attempts, right? Many attempts to get these 3-4-to-1 risk rewards. Okay, so I mean that's how it should be done. Do people follow the rules like this? I can say not that many. Not that many. I did not follow these rules the first 2, even 3rd year of my trading career. I was forced, based on the losses, to follow these rules. And once you follow these rules, then you build up capital throughout the years. It slowly builds up. It takes many years naturally, but you end up building up faster than you think. If you're going to be risking too much per trade, thinking that you're going to double, triple your account in a few weeks, you'll end up losing more than you win at some point. It's just the way it is. So calculate your trades, calculate your risk management very, very well. Let's go through. We're not kind of SFPing very successfully from the local highs. Kind of wants to, not doesn't want to. Could be a little bit noisy. What is important for the bears is to not reach the golden pocket here. Even 63.7 would be the, you basically, more like 63.7, because this could be your correction could have finished running flat here. Could have finished here, and this is 1, 2, 3, and you got a little 4, 5 right there, and all of that's your wave 3. So And just to be safe, 63.7 really is your invalidation here for the wave 4, just in case that was the end. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you still have a bit of choppiness possibility here. 63,650 would be ideally the invalidation. And just to be a little bit safe, based on local double tops, a bit of choppiness. And this is the idea that an ABC flat is possible, right? Invalidation is very, very close. Projection is coming all the way down to the lows, so the risk to reward is very, very valid. Let's talk about the bullish options. We haven't even covered the bullish options, but let's do the bullish options right away. Can this movement to the downside be a corrective structure? Can this move to the downside be a correction? We covered the bearish options based on 4 5s, and also the expanding diagonal. That is in the first hour of the stream. Anybody who wants to check that, it's the first hour. Now we're going to cover the bullish scenarios. Do we have any of them that by the way, in that short, going to be a bit of a pinchy stop right there. 2.7k, kind of worth the projection to the lows. Let's see. Anyway, let's talk about the bullish option here. By the way, guys, anybody that's not in the community, you know where to find us, okay? If we're not on YouTube looking for setups, education, analysis, every single day, Monday to Friday, we do get some stuff ready for the weekend, for the start of the week. You know where to find us, guys. It's the first link in the description on the Telegram. It's a command center, so you just click on start and all of the information to join will be sent, guys, and it's on the Telegram. No Discord, Telegram, easy to use. People love Telegram because it's simple. Bullish options, let's go. Hey, mamma mia. Can this be a correction to the downside from 67.2k high? And there is an option here for this to be corrective. Devil has been providing a little bit of the Elliott wave scenarios here for this to be a corrective structure. But there is an option to have it finished. There is an option to have the correction finished. I mean, ideally, we would claim the low one more time. But maybe, yeah, Devil was covering a few of the scenarios today as well. Yeah, maybe preferably for the corrective structure. Throughout the last few days, we were discussing this being a 3-wave move down, your B wave, a running triangle, right, where you have A, B, C, D, E, literally from that low. Not the bit, yeah, I mean, the triangle's really like this, where you have A, B, C, D, E, and then this movement down. So 3-wave down, quick wave X here. So that's your wave W in a zigzag. Fast wave X correction, fast in time. And now a zigzag down, which would be this one. Move down. A, B, C, D, E. A running triangle here is possible. Running triangle. And that's for your ABC. So ABC right there. For a WXY. Double zigzag. There would be a chance when we do consider something finished at the low here at 62.1k, the low from yesterday. It would be a valid count. What can we say? There would be a valid count here. We can fit in an impulse in this move in wave A. There's also an impulse here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can squeeze an impulse also here. And you can squeeze an impulse also after the end of this triangle, which would be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there could be a chance that this could be a finished WXY double zigzag if price were to rally significantly from here, right? Kind of reclaim and get a push to the upside. And this ends up overall being that fake out of the trend break, right? Yeah, not easy. I have to say, not easy for longs, not easy for new longs, at least for me here with this range. I did not get into any new long position. I still have my existing long. From 61.7k, which was this one over here that was explained last week, and most of the profits were taken on the move up here, over 50% still remaining in that long. But any new long for me here, I did attempt one yesterday. I got a little knock yesterday on a long attempt. But for me to get into any new longs in this area, I had no new longs between in the last 24 hours here. No new longs. Very, very hard. Unless you got into like a trend breakout or something from this. I didn't have a long plan locally here. We had to have the 4-5s as explained into the weekend. Maybe it is now. This is a flat and then you get 4-5. That's still very valid. But if this were to be the low right there, you've hit the 0.9 Fibonacci, almost claiming the low to get into a higher low here in a long. For me, it's not, I have no option here for a long anyway today, and still remaining in that long position of last week. So if this long gets stopped out and we get the 4-5s, I will look to re-enter a new long position throughout the weekend, maybe, if we do get that slowdown and the analysis aligns up with the support and Elliott wave theory. And if that long is taken, of course the trading community will know about it. But I'm happy to, this long is pretty heavy still compared to the short, so I would be only happy if the price just absolutely rips from here. No reasons. These trades were shared. The short was shared on the live stream on Wednesday, so it's nice to be in that hedged position at the moment. So I have no reasons to close the long and no reasons to close the short unless one is hit. So we're just it's a very, very comfortable position to be in. when you hedged like that, shorting the highs and longing the lows, basically the higher lows here. And to get into a new long position today was, for me, I just couldn't. I would have maybe considered hitting the weekly naked point of control at 61.7 as a reactionary trade. You hit it and you get above it, just because I know that you could create that wick and then, you know, maybe claim it later on, and form the 4-5s, but it's still an entry based on the reaction reclaim. Big weekly naked point of control there at 61.7. That's the only long that I would have considered today, really, very locally. No, you know, to long that higher low, hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci, you know, for me, it's not a long. I would rather short this level, potentially to claim the lows. That yes. But local longs, whew, I didn't see anything here for a long, to be honest. What are the probabilities of this to have something finished? Probabilities are not great for this, and there's one main reason. What are the probabilities to have a finished double zigzag, if we do count it as so? There is a bit of a problem here, a little bit of a red flag, right? Every Elliott wave scenario, you always detect red flags. WaveX is relatively quick. It's not an invalidation, of course. It's fine. It's just very, very quick compared to W. It didn't cross the 382 Fibonacci time, which we do like to cross. It was, you know, we missed it by 10 hours almost. But it's, you know, it's not an invalidation. It's just, you know, preferably you do cross the 382 Fibonacci time. Another red flag is this, you know, if we had a WXY that is finished, we would want to be creating a new wave to the upside in an impulse, preferably, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, this because this would be a finished correction, you want to start, you know, moving up impulsively. And the problem about this pullback, it hit the 0.9 Fibonacci. So this is also a red flag. 0.88, right? 0.9 Fibonacci being hit is not common for a wave 2. This is going to be wave 1 right there, and that's wave 2. It's a red flag. It's a little red flag right there. It's not invalidation. In Elliott wave theory, your wave 2 cannot overlap the start of wave 1, right? So it can form a, you know, a very, very shallow higher low. That your invalidation for wave 2 is taking the start of wave 1, right? If you, even though you miss it by, you know, a few dollars, in this case for Bitcoin, it's not an invalidation for a wave 2. So that means it's still possible. It's still possible that you can form a wave 2, even though you miss it by just a few dollars, like this case right over here. Is it common that wave 2s retrace that much, almost taking the lows of wave 1? It's not very common at all, right? You know, it might happen 10 times out of 100. But it's still 10 times that you do hit beyond the 0.88, and it ends up being a wave 2. So, you know, it's when we talk about probabilities are low for this to be a wave 2. Is it impossible? No, unfortunately, right? So few red flags for this to be the end of the move. Mainly also because of this pump. This retracement to be a wave 2 is low probability, which makes the bearish scenarios attractive, right? A flat here to coming down to the low. Short in this area is valid, as explained. Looks attractive for that movement down, just to, you know, follow the momentum, because for this to be the low, with the information that we have, is it's low probability that this is a wave 2. So understanding that, you do like the idea of forming an ABC flat here because of this pullback hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci, which is much better for an ABC flat, right, in this case, rather than a wave 2. Hence this zone for shorts is kind of, you know, yeah, we can give it a go. We got invalidation based on the higher time frame Elliott wave theory. You don't want to get above the 63.6k level. You don't want to get above that level. So that is your hard invalidation. And, you know, the target would be the lows at 62k. Not a major move, but anyways, just looking at the probabilities locally here. Could it be that this could extend? Because on the bearish case that we discussed in the first hour of the stream, I think I'm not going to cover it. I know there's some new people coming in right now on the stream, but we did cover the bearish case, which is forming 4 5s. A possible local flat here is possible, right? And the bearish idea is that you got 1 2 1 2 1 2, and now you formed your third wave, which is forming this gap, and now you need to follow up with 4 5s throughout the weekend in the next couple of days. So you're looking for more downtrend on the bearish case, and then longs could be looking interesting if we get this choppiness. We'll be getting ready throughout the weekend, likely Sunday, for a possible swing long, right, for a few days, a bigger bounce of a few $1,000s if we were to form this price action. But is there a chance to claim the low and bounce? And you're like, oh man, you know, I was waiting for the 4 5s to get into the long, but we only claimed the lows, and wow, I was not expecting that move up. Is it possible that this could happen? And I have to say, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is possible because, you know, we could extend this WXY, and I'll explain what, you know, how. Basically, it would just be a slightly different count for this WXY basically, and it would be a cheeky one. It would be a quite cheeky one. I'll go through the comment section right away, guys. Why not? First of all, you know, can we claim the low and really bounce here? We'll discuss that right away. Okay, similar to this WXY, however, slightly different. It would be an unfinished Y wave. We're going to cover that right away. I mean, this point of control would be looking very, very interesting. This weekly naked point of control at 61.7 is very, very interesting for a long, in my opinion, on the reaction based on this next Elliott wave theory WXY that could claim the local lows and get a bigger bounce than we thought. Instead of bouncing here and creating the 4 5s, you know, claiming the low and getting a bigger bounce into next week, it could be an option based on this Elliott wave scenario that I'm going to explain right away. Okay, so if you are interested in that, smash up the like button. I'm just going to take a quick drink, stretch my legs, and I'll go through the comment section. If you are liking the content, the levels, the scenarios, the setups, the risk management, the education, the everything, smash that like, guys. We got only 158 likes. let's go. We do this almost every day. Myself and Devil, we are shifting, of course, with YouTube, but if we can get a setup on stream, we will. Previous setup from the previous stream is awesome. One little stop loss. I shared that stop loss. It was about $1,900, and the short is printing, well beyond the stop loss that was hit. And we got this trade live on stream. We got this local one right now. Let's see if this one wants to come to fruition. Let's see. Anyway, I'll go through the comment section. Smash up the like button, guys. This does take time, right? Brain power to share all of these scenarios and levels, education. What else can I ask? A little like button, man. Come on, it's not much. Lazy buggers. I'm watching you if you're not smashing up the like button. I know you didn't smash the like button. What are you waiting for? Scroll down, smash it up. Right, enough nonsense. Let's say hello to the legends, people that have been joining. Bath Maria Vallejos, we'll talk about a bullish case, right? Claiming the low. Can we claim the local lows and get a bounce, right? Is it possible that we could roll down, claim the low, and get a bigger bounce? I mean, getting a bounce here, regardless, as explained, we either form 4/5s or we get a finished correction. I mean, there's a chance for the correction to be finished here. Are the chances very big? They're not really. I'm not too confident of this holding, to be honest. But it could be the low, as the scenario that I just explained, right? The double zigzag is not great. And this shallow, this steep, wave 2 is not great either. It's not great to have a very steep wave 2. Let's go through comment section right away. And good day, Andy. Joy. Do we have Joy here? Hey, my man, Joy. Jordan, much love to you, my man. Nice to see you around. Thanks for joining the stream. Joy is very active in the training community as well, guys. He's an absolute legend. Gained a lot of experience. He's a legend. You're a genius, Andy. Fab TA as ever. Seb, thanks so much. Well, it's some people like it, some people don't, I guess. The people that don't smash up the like button. I get it. Much love. Over 200 likes, guys. So, for me, it makes me happy. If I see some likes, it's like, I'm a happy boy. I'm a happy boy if I see some likes. Like, oh, even though I asked for them, I'm like, oh man, got 200 likes today, right? In this social media time that we live in, right? Whoever's got more likes is kind of more special. To be honest, I don't really care that much about the likes. It's just for the algorithm. Much love, guys. Thanks so much. Much appreciated, Andy. Learning lots from the team. Jay, awesome. That's awesome. That's what it's all about. Most importantly, it's not the TA, guys. It's not the TA. It's the trade execution. It's the risk management. Because how many of you, right? A lot of people do this. Press 1. How many times, right? Please put a 1 in the comment section. How many times have you entered a long with limits and the price goes against you and you add to the position and it goes against you even more? Your liquidation price is all the way down here and you even add a little bit more to the position and you end up getting wrecked. How many? Press 1, guys. I want all ones in the chat right now to see how many people have done that. ones in the comment section of adding to a position, right? Getting into a toxic trade, having your liquidation price all the way up here and shorting and adding to the shorts and realizing that you added too much to that position and you're like, no. My worst experience was in 2019. It was only 7 years ago. And I lost $19,000, which back then was a lot of money. It was literally, almost my entire account that I was building up with a $2,000-$3,000 account. I was there before. Back in 2018, 2019, when I was starting to become profitable, and I effed up my account that I built up. I had over $25,000 and I burnt 70% of the account on one toxic trade. This was not long ago, 7 years ago. And that was my worst experience ever. Back in the day, I really learned from then because I have much more capital right now, but I'm very careful. Even though I've got significant capital, I'm very, very careful with my trades. Very, very careful with my stop losses. I sleep well at night because I don't have any toxic trade open, never, for many years now. And we've all been there before. I can see a lot of ones in the chat, right? We've all been there, right? We've all been there, guys, and that's what we teach not to do. Okay, myself and Del, we are very, very against that kind of trading. You will never see us talk about, we building up a massive position, right? And we are, you can get a limit long and another limit long here, as long as you're risking 1% and 1%. If your liquidation is going to be, 2 to 3% loss, that is okay. That is okay. Of course, it's going to take a couple of weeks to gain 4 or 5% if it is going to recover, but it's about slow, consistent profits, right? Small losses as well. So yeah, we've been there. Zero. Put zero if you've never experienced that, right? Put zero in the chat if you've never experienced. Yup. 1, says Devil. There he is, the man himself. We've I think 95% of the traders have experienced that at some point, right? Once you know about trading, you're like, oh, this is fun, right? Getting into these trades and risking, right? I'm gonna risk a bit more. Prices against me, it doesn't matter. It's going to say this short, for example, right? And I have no stop loss. If this is a 10k, 15k loss, right? Am I going to add to the position because it's going to roll over at some point? What if it recovers? No. Put the stop in place. I know there's a solid invalidation right there. I don't want to risk it too much. Manage risk. I've been there before. It's a bitter pill to swallow, right? We all learn from our mistakes and we try our best to educate people with risk management. 0-0. You have Patron. We got Momtaz. We got Matt Merritt also. We got a few zeros here. Maybe you are the 5% that haven't experienced that, right? Maybe you're very good with your capital. You're very good. But it is very, very common. As human beings, we are greedy, we are emotional, and in trading, it's very, very normal to go down that route, first of all, right, of adding to position and getting into a toxic trade that's going to get you wrecked. We kind of, almost all of us go down that path in trading at some point. And it's usually the beginning stages, right? The first year, the first 2 years is when you go down that path. And your relief bounce from here to around 65k realistic before rolling over. Stock is closed. Usually we get a pump by Sunday night Central European time before dumping on Monday during US session. Alex, could we relief because stock market is closed? I mean, we do have that possibility of having a finished WXY here, but there's a few red flags as explained. A few little red flags here. Price bouncing a little bit up here. It's kind of a good day to get a larger bounce. That is for sure, right? I would take it ever so slightly into consideration that the stock market is closed today. We put New York Open on the title. That's silly. It is New York Open time though, even though the stock market is closed, right? Streaming an hour ago. But it kind of makes sense that you could relief because stock market is closed, right? And if you had the Nasdaq S&P 500 dumping 3-4% today, it would naturally drag Bitcoin down. And because stock market is closed, is it possible that we form a local low and we relief throughout the weekend for a larger move up? I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't. You can consider it. You can definitely consider that as a possibility. Not a bad consideration. If you invalidate wave 4, there is another chance, unfortunately, right? If I get stopped out of that short attempt, and this is speculating on 4-5s, it's never great to speculate on 4-5s for a short position because you really want to get into your wave 2s, right? For the wave 3 and then 4-5s, of course. And entering shorts when you've already had a pretty nice big move with a separation from the potential 1-2s, the risk reward is not that attractive. And of course you do have a corrective structure that could be the scenario, right? There is this one, which would be the finished one, not the greatest looking one, but it is valid. ABC with the triangle. This was the latest one. We'll talk about the other one right now, which would still take out the invalidation of wave 4. But if it were to roll down, then the longs could be very interesting, because I would say that you're likely just extending this WXY. But is there a chance of price mooning from here, right? Or getting a larger rally to the upside of a couple of $1,000s? I have to say yes. And that scenario is this one. Also a running triangle in this scenario here. You got a running triangle here for B and a running triangle also for B here. So this A wave, you got A, B, C, D, E as a running triangle for B wave, and here you also have a running triangle for B wave. So I mean, there is a chance for this to be the low. There is a chance for this to be the low. Stock market closed for that larger relief. As explained, for this to be a 1-2 and we break out, or we have another 1-2, 1-2 and then break out in a third wave right throughout the weekend. Probabilities are not great based on this pullback, right? We've hit the 0.9 Fibonacci from this move up, and it's not great when we consider probabilities. But it is possible, right? I would love to say, guys, it's invalidated. It's not going to happen. We're going to 100% roll over from here. I wish I could say that, but it's not the case. So could this be the low? There is a chance. There is a chance. Even though the chance is not great, the chance is there. Okay, so what is the other scenario if we do invalidate the impulse down? Because we do have the other scenario, which is a larger WXY and we invalidate wave 4, which is at the golden pocket from this lower high to the low at 650. If you invalidate wave 4 here, so you should be rolling down if you are going to be extending the impulse, right? You're going to be finishing the impulse in 4/5s. It should roll over below 63.65. But does that mean that if we hit 63,650, that we invalidate the 4/5s? Does that mean that it's 100% sure that we do finish the low here and it's only up from here? Unfortunately not. There's another corrective structure, which is, it is a bit cheeky. It's a bit cheeky of a correction. We will still label this same move as a running triangle for that ABC to form wave W. However, B, C, D, E. Oh man, I mean, this is, it would also be a running triangle here for wave X. It's horrible, but because you have a triangle here, kind of formation, you'd have to take this low. Okay, so this is the take here for this scenario. Hang on a minute, my bad. I mean, this is going to be tricky because let's just put that there. And this makes a very interesting long. If we invalidate the wave 4s, I wouldn't be particularly interested in the short, even though you got a bit of support resistance at 63.7, 63.8, right? The lows right there. You got. Let's double check something here. Let me just zoom out. Yeah, nothing interesting here. Let me just double check this entire range. Well, that's very far away, so yeah. Okay, nothing. Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in shorts, me personally, even though I realize that a rollover here could happen. But this is wave X. Wave X, you're like, what is this? How can you have wave W finishing here and you have this, and you're considering this as a triangle, running triangle that would be? Because you might think, well, you got this move up, this move down for an AB. That's okay. Running triangle, the B wave can take out the low of A wave, just like this one, A, B, C, D, E. But then you're like, well, you took out the low of B wave again. So how can you have a running triangle here? A, B, C, D, it's not possible. You've taken out B wave. Well, you have to consider the low being here of your B wave. So it's literally A wave, B wave, C, D, and E. As you can see, you do have this being the running triangle, the B wave of the running triangle. Then you have a lower high, a higher low, and a lower high. So that can be considered. But it's not great because B wave is like really overextended. But this is just to come up with the scenario. This would be a very good long position into the weekend down at the weekly naked point of control. I'll explain why in just a second. Is it possible that you hit 63.6 to 63.8, right, zone to invalidate the impulse, which is the multiple 4/5s that should be forming You can't hit the 63.7k level. That's invalidating the impulse formation for 4/5s, and hit the invalidation and roll down. Well, this would be the scenario. You're looking for an ABC up, in this particular scenario. Remember, this can break out in a wave 3, so this is why I'm not particularly interested in new shorts here. But this would bring a awesome long opportunity. So let's say that we get the A wave, B wave, which hits above 63.6, 63.7, forms a lower high, and then moves down. This could be a scenario. Three wave down, very ugly running flat here for wave X. Wave A, B, C, you invalidate wave 4s, so you're not looking at an impulse down anymore. So it's two options here. You either continue to the upside in the coming days, or you claim the low one more time. I know that I'm not looking for an impulse really here. I mean, well, the option would be multiple 1-2s, but it's just getting very, very dodgy here for another wave 2, right? If this is one, let me just clear up this 1 second, because bearish cases 1 2 1 2 1 2. Could we have another 1-2 here? And instead of getting a reaction at this weekly naked point of control, it just nukes down. It's not an invalidation that we'd have another 1-2 here, unfortunately, but it's just the reclaim of the weekly naked point of control would be the long for me anyway here, considering this WXY double zigzag. So you need that push down in an impulse to finish this later zigzag, which it's not great because of the running triangle in wave X, but it's not it is possible. Zigzag down, running triangle, very, very steep wave B, and now you formed your A wave, you're on the formation of your B wave, and then you need your impulse down on your Y wave, right, to finish that zigzag here. Zigzag here, zigzag here, running triangle for your wave X. I mean, it is possible, right? We talk possibilities here. We never 100% certain. Interestingly enough, when we take the fib extension from W to the end of wave X on this running triangle, your 1-to-1 is slightly below the weekly naked point of control at 61.7. 61.6, that's the 1-to-1. This area I would consider longing at 61.7, because I have an Elliott wave corrective count and I have a weekly naked point of control as confluence. So this 61.7 for a reaction is valid for a long trade. How is this long executed? For me, there's only one way. It's a detection, of course, preferably of an impulse, detecting your 4/5 on the 15-minute time frame. Preferably we want to detect the end of the impulse, whereas the end at the 4/5s, you need that volume on your wave 3, the gap right between 1 and 2, you need that breakdown, and then this becomes very, very attractive. But in simple terms, it's a reaction trade. Tapping and reclaiming is where the long trigger would be for me, just to manage risk very, very well with stop loss beneath the fake out of the weekly naked point of control and the 1-to-1 extension. This 1-to-1 extension is considering this particular dodgy WXY, but I would really want to take the chance, because if this ends up being a WXY double zigzag, the minimum target to reach is 0.9 Fibonacci from the highs to the lows, which is above 66.5k. And you know, this trade could look something like this. Why is the 0.9 Fibonacci the minimum target? Because if you have a WXY double zigzag, which is a 3-wave corrective structure, that means you would have something finished here, and the only main option would be looking for a flat, basically, right? So you need to reach 0.9 as a minimum target for your flat. So you know, I would follow up that trade eventually if we do get the opportunity, and you know, it does happen and I'm in front of the chart, and you know, we can give that signal, our own signal, of course, such as myself or Devils, right? We're not a signals channel. It's only if we would share if we enter the trade and the levels of interest. But we would follow up, of course, this possible trade, and we know that the most bearish option would be another 1-2. 1-2. We always need to consider it. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and nuke down wave 3. This is why it's a reactionary trade. You lose that level, sorry, no trade. You react into the zone. It's a possible good risk management, good risk to reward bounce that could develop. So that level is really crucial for this particular scenario in this double zigzag, which a wave X would be a running, very, very dodgy running triangle, but it's possible and it's attractive, right? We try to figure out what opportunities there are, risk management, good support. You got the 1-to-1 extension as well here, which is slightly below that weekly naked point of control. That's when we consider WXY targets 1-to-1 to the 1-2-3-6, as we do have that weekly naked point of control just slightly above the 1-to-1. I think the 1-to-1 could be the one that could form that low. That's if we form a lower high, right, after invalidating the wave 4s here. And 1-2s, they are getting very long. The next 1-2s, they are getting long compared to your first 1-2. So this is a scenario that I would consider very, very much. Will it happen? I don't know. Where do we need to bounce? We need to reclaim weekly naked point of control. That's where I enter on the reclaim. Where's my stop loss? Beneath the fake out. If you lose that level, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be the guy that's adding to the position. And you know, if we nuke down, I'll be more than happy, because you know, I won't long it, and I'm holding a short from Wednesday that was taken on the stream, right? So it's a reactionary trade. We know where the opportunity is. We know the projection. If it is a 3-wave structure, we know that we could be heading up to the highs in throughout the next week. So that's a little bit it, guys. That's a bit of this other plan that we have. We do create the plans. We do have many scenarios. We got the impulse 4-5s. We got the corrective structures. This would be one of them. That's if we invalidate wave 4 and we decide to come down. There is an option as well for the low to be in. It's not great, but it's not invalidated. We don't have an invalidation based on the other Elliott wave count, which is this one right over here that is coming on the chart right now as we build up. There we go. There it is. This one over here, zigzag wave X, very quick, and another zigzag down. Wave X is a bit too quick in timing, but it's not invalidated. And in this case, if we were to shoot up from here, your wave 2 is very, very deep. It's a steep wave too, right? Which is not great. So the probabilities are not great for this. They're not great to get a wave 3 or another 1, 2, and then 3. They're not great for this scenario. But it's not invalidated. It is a possibility, unfortunately. So this is why for me it was very, very difficult to look for longs in this zone unless you got into a trend break or something like that. I don't know what kind of strategy you could have used here. I don't have any long position throughout today, unless you're getting into a trend break, maybe, which the highs is your first TP. I don't know, maybe this would have been the only way for me to possibly consider an entry and a stop loss. If I don't have any entry and stop loss here, I mean, I'm not going to enter here with a stop loss at the low. It's just not. I would wait for the low to be hit or the weekly naked point of control to enter, right? Reaction, then long, right? That's the only way that I can do it. I don't have any long here unless it would have been the trend break, maybe. Devil was eyeing that, possibly. So those are the scenarios. What can we do? There are no longs. Only longs is the 4-5s throughout the weekend. We can maybe spot that. If we invalidate wave 4, the weekly naked point of control, that's only if we invalidate wave 4s and 5s. I mean, regardless, if we do come down here for a 4 and 5, just recognize that this bounce can be shallow, okay, and come back down for the 4-5s on the bearish impulse on the formation. This is still a good bouncing scalp zone. But if we roll down from here, be aware of the 4-5s that we could still form throughout the weekend, right? Maybe entering into Monday and then get the bounce, right? So we'll follow up throughout, likely Sunday. We're going to leave Saturday for the price action to do what it needs to do. And for new, if we were to move up from here, I didn't have a long, so I would just have to get stopped out from that local short right over here, but hold the existing long position, which would be, still making a really good profits, of course. That long was from last week, so for me it would be a gift if we were to rally aggressively. I'm in a slightly bigger long position than the short. This short mainly is to take out 59k. That's when profits will look attractive. That was the projection of me taking this short from Wednesday. And yeah, I for any new long positions, at least for me, we would have to create an impulse up, and then the correction throughout next week will be analyzed for a new long position. That's if we don't get down here or we form the exhaustion throughout the weekend, and we look for a long Sunday, Monday. But if the low were to be in based on this scenario, I didn't have a new long throughout today, so I'd have to remain patient to either break out and form an impulse, and then the correction throughout Sunday, Monday. If we can detect that this is corrective, then longs might look interesting to come to the highs throughout next week. Longs will take a few days to jump into, or a double 1-2 is possible, right? And then 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? And then we get the correction throughout next week. We need to identify where the best long is. That would be targeting the highs, basically. We don't know exactly where yet. We need the price action to understand our invalidations, our entries. The projection would be the high, so it's all about the entry and the stop loss. It's going to take a few days, of course, for that. That's where I would detect the new long positions and the new support levels, of course, right? Value area high would be obviously support if you reclaim it in a strong impulse, 1-2, 1-2, and then break 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? Correction, value area high, could be the zone that it holds. We're going to have to see the price action, right? We can't speculate on so many days on how the price could develop. If it does prove itself that it is an impulse, then the correction, we'll analyze that to see if there is any good long positions. Legends, much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the stream today. Not much more than I can cover. We've covered this scenario. We covered the possible invalidation of wave 4 for then the larger WXY with the running triangle in wave X, and the bearish case, which is the impulse to be formed right in 4/5s throughout the weekend, very likely into Monday. We just need to remain patient to see that exhaustion and then consider the reversal bounce for longs once we get those 4/5s. Patience is very much key for that. Hope you enjoyed today's stream on a Friday at New York Open. Fake breakout, very possible. That was nice if possible. Nice. Andy, can you have your thoughts on the anchored VWAP from the lows? Yeah, anchored VWAP from the lows very locally here. Let's just clean this up. I'll put this in a folder later on. Anchored VWAP from the lows. From 59k, yeah. Is a reclaim of the anchored VWAP. Bullish. I mean, we'd have to get a pretty relatively strongish in an impulse. Anchored VWAP could be support, but when you lose it, you do get the fake out to the upside, right? And then back down to the lows. It is a little bit irrelevant at the moment. We do have the weekly weekly level. It's probably gonna be old weekly level acting as resistance at the moment. We had this weekly level from quite some time now. Oh no, sorry, this weekly level is from the previous 2 weeks. As you can see, we broke it. It could maybe act as resistance. I mean, it is doing something today. We can see on the local time frame that it's doing something as a back test. That weekly that was broken yesterday, it is acting as resistance. Weekly level that was broken yesterday. Not really the great. I mean, this is we need to be strict. I got stopped out on a long yesterday. I gave a bit of room, so my risk was very, very low. Then, you know, if we do recover, then I'll check the chart later on. But we broke down literally, and sometimes we need to be very, very strict with these. It needs to reclaim it, right? You need to get back above to consider the long, and we lost it yesterday. And a weekly level is usually strong, but if you break it, there's no strong reclaim. It's a loss of the level, so we just ended up moving down here. Now we back testing that weekly. It is doing something. It is reacting to it, and this is why we got the ABC flat potential here as well. It is a rejection point, especially considering the invalidation for the impulse for the bears, right? For the wave 4, you cannot hit 63.65. If you do get up that level, you're invalidating the 4/5s on the impulse, as explained the first hour of the stream. Legends will be following up throughout Sunday, very likely inside of the trading community. Devilt also providing the updates today, also providing more updates on some scenarios and levels. Much love to Devilt inside of the trading community. Remember, if we're not on YouTube, you can ask us questions in the community. It's an open community. Myself and Devilt, you can tag me. We provide the updates. We get ready for the week. And look for the setups, guys. If you're not already inside of the trading community, you got a command center here in Telegram. It's the community is in Telegram, which is very easy friendly for people to use, right? So just click on start and the information will be sent for you to join the trading community. You literally sign up through Bluffin or 2-bit weeks. You can choose an exchange. You got the best deals and bonuses, 25% off your fees on Bluffin the first 7 days, $500 bonus, deposit bonus. If you deposit 2.5K, you get the best rewards with the links down below. And you know, if you do the minimum deposit, you'll get access to the trading community. Okay, super simple to follow the instructions in the Telegram. Legends, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to collect Mattia, CBM. He's coming to visit. We're going to be watching some tennis, and yeah, I'll enjoy some time with him. Good friend of mine, Mattia CBM. We hanged out a lot in Dubai when I was living there, and he's coming to visit, so I'm going to pick him up at the airport right now. We might do a stream together. Who knows? Why not? Anyway, much love, legends. Enjoy Friday. Enjoy the weekend with friends and family. And we'll be following up inside of the trading community to see what happens here. But for the moment, chilled, in short, in long, schlong, in a local short. It might get stopped out, but managing risk as always. And take care, guys. Smash up the like button on your way out. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much. Rose, Devil was around, A Trader. I'll see you in the next one.